A silent contest of civilizations is unfolding. Arabian Business reports, a white-collar talent tsunami from the US, UK, and Europe is pouring into the UAE. This isn't boastful marketing, it's a reality taking shape. Once upon a time, Dubai was simply a safe haven for the world's billionaires voting with their feet. That's old news. Today, the story's protagonists are changing. More and more white-collar professionals and middle-class workers, the very people who keep Western societies running, are packing up their lives and heading for this new continent in the desert. The economist Friedrich Hayek once said, "If people are free to move, the direction they flow is the direction of civilization." I'm Judy. In this episode, I'll take you inside the UAE, a modern-day Roman republic seemingly rising from the sands. Data doesn't lie. According to a report by global investment migration consultancy Henley & Partners, in 2024, a record 6,700 millionaires are expected to migrate to Dubai, surpassing the next most popular destination, the United States, with 3,800, and traditional favorite, Singapore, with 3,500. Why are they coming? The answer is simple and blunt. Excellent public safety, virtually zero street crime, an environment welcoming to all races, zero personal income tax, minimal financial regulation, and 100% foreign company ownership. The movement of wealth is never mere fashion. It's a civilizational tide. Just as capital flowed into London in the 18th century, just as the 19th century gold rush lured bankers from the East Coast to San Francisco, wealth is the gravitational pull of civilization. Of course, you might ask, isn't this just a rich person's game? What does it have to do with civilization? Hold that thought. Let's look away from the top of the pyramid. A call-in from an ordinary British family reveals a crucial truth. This storm is already on everyone's doorstep. June 2025, an LBC listener call set off a wave of public debate in the UK. Host Tom Swarbrick took a call from Michael, whose story was a stark reflection of countless middle-class families struggling in Britain.
My daughter, a bit like in relation to that last caller, and her husband are emigrated in September to Dubai. They sent me a video yesterday of the apartment they've got. Absolutely stunning. Swimming pool, £1,800 a month. Kids are going into an international school. Over here, he pays 40% in tax. That's the main reason he's leaving. Over there, it's tax-free. And they can't afford. They've got two young children. They work my daughter's a therapist. He's a sports scientist. They're 30 years old, and they can't afford to buy a home in London. And they've just decided, for the children's sake and for their sake and for their sanity, that they're going to emigrate.
Your daughter and her partner are trading their sense of British values for values that are different to ours and not altogether as good, particularly when it comes to certain people in work, employment rights, all that stuff. They're foregoing that in order to enrich themselves.
The host's lofty questions were met with an even more forceful public pushback. Top-liked comments on X revealed people's frustration and struggle. If British values are driving people out of the country, what good are they? I will raise my future children somewhere warm and safe with no knife crime. At the end of the day, British values only work when people are able to have a decent quality of life. As soon as their tax rises and their quality of life decreases, they will look for a better deal. These British values aren't worth very much then. These voices aren't so much angry as disillusioned. A loss of faith in a system that once promised safety and opportunity. It isn't betrayal, but escape. Just like the Irish girl in the film Brooklyn, leaving home to make a living. Not everyone is born into a promised land. That's why human history is written over and over by those willing to cross mountains and seas for a better life, for their own gold rush. To understand the UAE today, we have to turn the clock back 70 years. Back then, this was a barren land forgotten by the world. The Bedouin people scraped by through pearl diving and herding. Dubai and the UAE's capital, Abu Dhabi, were just dusty little fishing ports. As depicted in the film Queen of the Desert, this landscape was raw and desolate. The discovery of oil was the turning point, but it's far from the whole story. Oil may be a gift from God, but vision is a human masterpiece. From the very beginning, the founders of the UAE had the clear-eyed realization that the oil would one day run out. With their first pot of gold from oil, they launched the most spectacular modernization gamble in urban history. They certainly indulged in lavish pleasures. The lives of the royal family were filled with private yachts, falconry, polo fields, grand palaces, and fleets of supercars. The very oil-fueled feast the world imagined. However, behind the nouveau riche glamour lay a much grander ambition. They knew that such luxury needed a sustainable foundation. They invested heavily in hardware like ports, airports, and hotels, while placing equal importance on the software, building open financial, legal, and innovative tech systems. Their goal was that when oil was no longer their advantage, the UAE's geography, business environment, and lifestyle would become its new, inexhaustible oil. Today, that goal has been achieved. The UAE is no longer synonymous with oil. It is a global hub for trade, finance, technology, and tourism that has risen from the desert. From camel caravans to the world's largest international airline, from empty desert to a forest of skyscrapers, this monumental transformation is the most powerful definition of the word future. If an individual's choice is a stream, then the movement of capital and industry is an unstoppable tide. Finance. Brevin Howard has relocated a large number of traders to Abu Dhabi, while Millennium Management is also expanding significantly there. Technology and crypto. Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange, has made Dubai a key hub. Tech giants like Microsoft, Oracle, and SAP have set up their Middle East headquarters here and continue to expand. Consulting and law. The world's top consulting firms and law offices have established massive offices in Dubai to serve the growing influx of capital and companies. As a director at Core Integra put it, this is a classic case of Silicon Valley's loss is Dubai's gain. Jobs lost in the West due to economic stagnation and political gridlock are being absorbed by the Gulf's hungry ecosystem. So, are these incoming professionals the UAE's new citizens? The answer is no, and that is precisely the core and most thought-provoking design of the UAE model. White-collar talent is the knowledge mercenaries Dubai works hard to attract. Investors, entrepreneurs, doctors, engineers, scientists, they hold golden visas, 5 to 10-year renewable residencies that grant great freedom and convenience. But whether you hold a golden visa or have billions, gaining Emirati citizenship is nearly impossible. The social contract is clear and pragmatic. We offer you world-class safety and wealth growth. You offer your skills and capital while obeying our laws. Politics? You don't need to participate, and you're not allowed to. There's no Western-style everyone votes democracy here, nor moral lectures about universal human rights. It's a hyper-pragmatic modern contract. You give up political rights in exchange for a predictable, high-quality life. For many weary of endless Western infighting and identity politics, it's a worthwhile trade, but it also tells you plainly, you remain an outsider. You can't change this social contract. Yet this depoliticized model dramatically reduces internal conflict. It demands you set aside political ambition and focus on being practical. For those who simply want wealth and quality of life, it offers rare stability and appeal. It's a bit like the Roman Republic. Rome also had a strict citizenship hierarchy: Latin allies, federated states, provincial subjects, with true citizenship reserved for a privileged few. But that didn't stop it from drawing in talent and wealth from across the Mediterranean, building a great era. When people think of the Middle East, many imagine an unresolvable tangle: war, conflict, chaos, and religious fundamentalism. But the UAE stands out like a Noah's Ark in this turbulent sea, always managing to keep itself stable and secure. It isn't a democracy, so how has it become synonymous with stability and prosperity? Its official name is the United Arab Emirates, a federation of 7 hereditary emirates. Ultimate power lies with these 7 rulers who together elect the president. It's a modern version of an ancient idea, a noble republic. This system prioritizes policies with real economic benefits and long-term national strategy over short-term public opinion or election cycles. As a result, it offers efficient decision-making and execution, prioritizes social stability, and avoids internal division and identity politics. In 2024, the UAE officially joined the BRICS group with a per capita GDP reaching $52,000. Its wealth is no longer just about oil. In fact, oil accounts for only around 5% of Dubai's GDP. The real backbone is tourism, finance, trade, and cutting-edge sectors like solar energy, AI technology, and smart agriculture. What's especially notable is that the ruling elite here share the fruits of development generously with citizens. Emirati nationals enjoy cradle-to-grave benefits, free healthcare, free education, and even government-funded study abroad with living stipends. This model would feel familiar to the builders of ancient Rome. The Senate was controlled by nobles, ensuring efficiency and long-term vision in decision-making, while using law and order to draw in talent and wealth from across the Mediterranean. Is the UAE writing a Rome 2.0 story today? Any praise for the UAE cannot sidestep a pointed question. Of the UAE's total population of 11.35 million, 88% are expatriates. Are the laborers at the bottom of this hierarchy truly living inhumane lives? Western media often applies labels like modern slavery, portraying the nation as a feudal manor, gilded on the outside but rotten within. But the truth is far more complex than a simple moral judgment. First, the labor market here is more open than in any Western country. A work contract is all that's needed to secure a visa. There are no long, stringent, and uncertain quotas or reviews. Second, the lives of construction workers and service staff are indeed worlds apart from those of citizens. This isn't a point of denial. The vast majority of these workers from Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh come voluntarily. They trade their sweat, low wages, and the loneliness of being far from home for a much better opportunity than they had in their home countries, a salary they can send back to support their entire family. If this is toiling like cattle in the UAE, what would their lives be back in their homelands? This issue is not unfamiliar in Europe and America. When US ICE raids and deports undocumented immigrants who have worked hard for years, when these same immigrants are forced to work in legal gray areas, in similarly low-wage jobs with little protection, should we not ask, is this truly more humane? The UAE's model clearly delineates rights and obligations. It may be unequal, but it is honest. This is also not a modern invention. At the height of the Roman Empire, the city was filled with freemen and slaves from every province who performed the heavy labor. Their status was vastly different from that of a Roman citizen. Yet, why did they still flock to Rome? For thousands of years, humanity has never built a true utopia of equality. Instead, social experiments launched in the name of ideals and morality have often ended in division and even rivers of blood. In reality, too many people on this planet still struggle for basic survival. Debates over ideology and universal values often seem hollow and powerless. Ironically, no one can convince anyone else. These arguments become tools for schemers and rent-seekers, while people remain trapped in endless bickering, sometimes on the brink of civil war and renewed violence. So we see this strange sight. Western elites, from billionaires to white-collar professionals, are voting with their feet in a modern-day exodus. When a civilization can no longer offer its people safety, prosperity, and hope, and instead drives them to flee, how can it still claim to be the future of humanity? The answer, perhaps, is written in the dazzling lights of Dubai's skyline.